do you guys want me to mention like mid-credit scenes? I feel like I should mention that. Oh. Yo, oh my okay. Yo, what up, Marvel minxes? Sliding away. Sorry, I don't have my feet on the ground. Okay. How's it going? I know it's been forever, but guess what? As you can tell by my intro, and the title, probably some other things, I am back with my MCU review videos. Aren't you impressed that I've come back after like almost an entire year to finish these review videos? And you might think, oh, Arbdog, in that year, did I even say it's Arbdog yet? Oh my god. It's Arbdog, it's me, I'm back. There we go. You might think, Arbdog, aren't you gonna forget what happened in the movies? Like, it's been so long. Like, how can you even talk about them in such detail? And you would be right. You know, like, yes. My answer is yes. I forgot what happened. So I've actually gone back and literally rewatched some of these movies in that time, okay, just so I could study up for these videos. And then after I watched the videos again, you know, a few more months went by and I forgot again, like, what happened in the movies, okay? So, that's what's happening here. I'm gonna be reviewing the videos having, like, forgotten everything, basically, okay? Though, thankfully, I did make notes, over time. And let's hope that's enough, okay? Today we're gonna be doing Thor: The Dark World, freaking Iron Man 3, and my personal fave at this point, and you know, having watched all the Marvel movies, I can say that this is one of my top movies. Captain America: Winter Soldier, okay? Before we get into that, how about y'all go ahead and hit subscribe? That's what I used to do, right? Just to make sure that you don't miss when I post part 4 next year, okay? Let's do it. Alright, so like I said, to start us off, we've got Thor: Dark World. And basically in this movie, we have the Dark Elves as the main villains, and the main, you know, head of the villains being Malekith. And basically something called the Convergence is coming, where these worlds are gonna, I guess, line up and collide so that they can come through and take over, right? And what happens is that Jane accidentally comes into contact with the ether, which actually transports her over to the Dark Elves world. And then, you know, long story short, they gotta save Jane while also protecting, you know, their world, or Earth, I think, from, you know, the war that's coming, you know, brought on by the Dark Elves. And, like, honestly, this movie, it didn't stand out to me too much. Like, there were a couple funny moments, a couple, you know, high charisma moments coming from Loki himself, right? So that was entertaining in a way. But otherwise, did this movie speak to me very much? No, you know, personally, it didn't reach out to me, right? You know, didn't say, listen, Arbdog, I got something to say to you. So no, it didn't speak to me, okay? And honestly, guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I haven't been talking about, like, the mid-credit scenes with you guys, and, like, how, I don't know what just happened to my voice right there. And, like, you know, what it's kind of foreshadowing, so I'm gonna start doing that, okay? So in Thor: The Dark World, the mid-credit scene shows Thor's friends taking the ether to the Collector, and this is someone that we haven't seen before, and basically he, you know, says that he's going to keep it safe, but then he says, you know, 1 down, 5 to go. So he's looking to collect everything else, including, like, the Tesseract and that sort of thing. So we can sense that he's probably someone a little bit evil and, you know, not really worth trusting, right? And it does actually set us up for what's going to happen in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And, you know, it's so shocking that I haven't been talking about them, because one of the most exciting things about this whole universe is how it all connects together and how good the movies are at doing that, right? And then connecting all these pieces and connecting all these storylines. So yeah, again, unfathomable. I actually did tweet scenes from this movie. In fact, I tweeted 2 of them, I think, okay? So I will show you guys those scenes right now.
If you even think about betraying him.
You'll kill me? Evidently there will be a line.
Darcy?
Jane!
Yeah. Sylvie!
Mia!
And next up, we have the second movie on the docket, which is Iron Man 3. Okay, so this movie, it kind of revolves around the bad guy, the Mandarin, and Tony Stark, who is actually having like PTSD and panic attacks from everything that he's kind of gone through. So we get to see a bit of like an internal struggle, a mental health struggle, and, you know, just kind of like him battling with what he wants to continue to do, I guess, with himself and all of this. And I mean, to be fair, he is working through it, continuing to try and be a superhero at times, but it's really difficult for him. And at first, when I kind of watched this movie, like, you know, I'm not Marvel's, like, I don't know everything about Marvel. I'm just some person who is obsessed with these movies and trying to learn more and more, right? But like, I first watched this movie and I was just like, what the heck? Like, isn't the Mandarin supposed to be like this like sick, like super scary bad guy? And then he just like, in the movie, he ends up being this like just this actor who's just a puppet to the actual bad guys, right? But then I watched the one shot All Hail the King, and they did, you know, foreshadow that the real Mandarin was gonna, you know, come after Iron Man type of thing. So it's always good to see that, you know. And that kind of explained my answers. At first I was like, this is a super weird choice, like they're just making this like arch nemesis of Iron Man into like this nobody, you know. So I'm pleased with the, you know, the one shots, and I'm behind on watching the one shots too. So like, if I say anything that's incorrect and I just like I don't have all the info, please let me know, you know, down below. But I will, you know, I'll try my best to like get caught up as I talk about these things. Pretty sick battle scenes. I really enjoyed the battle scenes in this movie, and I felt like there was a pretty captivating dialogue, which is always important to me because I don't know, sometimes I do not respect movies that have just bad dialogues. Like, there's no excuse to have like cheesy dialogue that nobody would ever say. Okay, so, you know, that sticks out to me. It's not hard to write something that's realistic, in my opinion. And some of those battle scenes would be like the one at Stark's house, as well as the final battle, of course. Also, you know, just like a good bromance, who doesn't love a good, you know, father type figure, you know, a hard ass goes soft because of some cute kid being in his life. You know, we love that sort of storyline and character relationship, okay? And that's what happens here. And it helps that they're both little nerds, okay? So it's very cute. You get some cute back and forth between them. There's this character that Tony Stark knew when he was younger, and you know, it's like the typical like bullied person loses it and it takes revenge out on society storyline plot thing, okay? And so this is what happens to Killian, and he's kind of the one like organizing everything here and puppeteering the actor guy to be the Mandarin, right? And to get back at Iron Man and, I don't know, take over the world somehow, okay? I don't remember anymore. Anyway, it all comes to light. Of course, Iron Man has to, you know, beat him. But there's this one scene in which Aldrich Killian is wearing this navy blue, like rolled up, like button-up shirt, and he was popping in it, okay, and it was all the right things, you know. So it's a good look. It's a good look, if you know what I mean. Like, this is actually a really sick scene. So he says this.
That's why I'm gonna kill you first.
What are you gonna do to me?
You'll see.
You're zip tied to a bed.
This.
And he's waiting for his iron suit to come to him, but it like takes longer than he expected. which was like funny, but I'm always just like, why did it take longer than you expected? Like, is it because it was stuck behind some wooden doors? Like, since when can your iron armor not bust through a wooden door? Like, I just don't understand. Like, even if it's locked, can't it just bust open the wood? You know, it's a little sus. It's a little sus if you ask me. All right, and then I don't know, we find out the vice president has something to do with this. He's like in on the whole situation, whatever. I wrote down this note that just says a lot of feelings of impending doom during this movie. Does that mean I had feelings of impending doom during this movie? Or does that mean the characters had feelings of impending doom during this movie? I guess we'll never know. Also, my next note just says, roadie, roadie, roadie. What the f does that mean? I don't know. Maybe he just has like, he's like doing cool things in this movie. I don't know. But he does play a bigger part because, you know, he's helping Iron Man. He's like more used to using a suit, whatever. Like they're an actual proper duo, which is good. House party protocol, baby. And then we're basically on to the final scene, which is the final battle scene, sorry, which, like I said earlier, I really did enjoy. And it's kind of like high stakes, right? Because Pepper was like, Tony Stark was saving Pepper Potts during this whole battle too. Like there was not just him at stake, it was her as well. So, you know, like it was really devastating because Pepper Potts like fell to her death. I truly was so devastated, all to find out that, you know, she came back thankfully afterwards. But it was you know, it's like I always do appreciate a movie that will kill off characters or, you know, just have like higher stakes like that because it makes it realistic again. Like there's just no way that people don't get damaged or hurt or have losses in this type of life where you're a superhero, right? So I do appreciate those moments of just like a little bit of reality setting in, but it's okay. This time I was okay with her coming back to like, you know, not dying, I should say. But yeah, overall, like, you know, it was an enjoyable movie. It started off kind of slow for sure, but it did have some really good moments. Better than Iron Man 2. And, you know, surprise, everybody, I didn't do a tweet from this one, but I did include 3 of my favorite moments here. Now, watch them.
On the spot, ready?
What'd you say?
Too fast. Nothing.
You gotta let go! I'll catch you, I promise!
Shame. I would've caught her.
Mark 42 inbound.
Oh, damn. The prodigal son returns.
Whatever.
And finally, on to the third movie, and probably the final one of this video. Just kidding, I have my own audio for this. Captain America Winter Soldier. So this movie, it's a doozy, man. It's a freaking doozy. I've seen it also one too many times. Like I've definitely seen it more times than I've seen many of the other MCU videos, okay? Sorry, you guys are not supposed to know that I was curled up in a blanket, but I'm cold now. But basically, like, I love rewatching this one whenever I have the chance. I obviously don't just like go, like, I'm not just like putting this movie on every single day, but if someone's like, let's watch a Marvel movie, I'm like, fucking Winter Soldier, you know what I mean? Like, it's a whole thing. So, like, I don't know, I should hopefully know it better than the others and remember it better, but do I? I don't freaking know, okay? But anyway, let's start, okay? So in this movie, Steve is like kind of just getting used to the world after waking up, and he meets Sam, who's also known as the Falcon, okay? And they, you know, they kind of hit it off. They're both like army guys, you know, it's a whole thing. And we see Black Widow, you know, Scarlett Johansson, she's still in the picture, whatever. She's still friends with my guy, you know, Steve Rogers. And they're all hanging out, whatever, working, doing their day jobs. And then we find out that S.H.I.E.L.D. is compromised. And then Fury, Nick Fury is trying to warn Steve, and he ends up getting killed. Okay. And, and now Steve and Nat are like, they're on edge and they're trying to figure out what's happening, okay? But they really can't trust anyone. And then we start to find out, who is kind of involved in this entire thing. And then we have this elevator scene, which is honestly one of my favorites. Like, it's just so sick, right? Like, and it's just like a really intense moment. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But anyway, so it's it's a great moment, whatever, and now he's seeing that it really is compromised, and through some cool moments like them going back to his army base and him kind of being like, yo, this building's in the wrong spot, it's a sick moment, right? They go and figure out that it's Hydra, actually, that's like infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and has been infiltrated, has been inside S.H.I.E.L.D. for a very long time, like since he was in the war 70 years ago. And we have this moment where Sam and Nat and Steve are working together to interrogate one of the Hydra agents that are within S.H.I.E.L.D., which is Sitwell. Okay, so it's actually a super cool scene. They take him up to the rooftop. Steve is holding on to him and kind of hanging him over like the rooftop, kind of insinuating that he's going to drop him. And Sitwell's like, oh, you're going to drop me from this building? Like, not really your style. And he's like, you're right. It's hers. And then like, now he comes and like kicks him off, and it's fucking amazing. And you're like, oh shit, right? But then you're like, they didn't get any info. And then all of a sudden Falcon comes out of nowhere, he grabs him, brings him back on the rooftop, right? And like, if that was me, I would have fucking pissed myself, I would have shit myself, all these things, right? On top of that, man still got his glasses on. You telling me his glasses didn't come off in that whole situation? You would just fly. What? But anyway. Another great thing about this movie is it's one of the first ones where we see so many storylines getting interwoven, right? Like, in the other movies, there's maybe a little, like, drip drop of information here and there, right? You rely on the mid-credit scenes, that sort of thing. But this one movie alone has so many plot lines and, it brings together so many of the other movies. So we start to see like some of Black Widow's background. She starts talking about her kind of backstory a little bit, right? Which would lead us into not only one of the main villains in this movie, but also, her upcoming, well, I mean, it's already out, but, her movie Black Widow, right? Like, so it's really cool to see that and get to know a little bit more about that character, right? And that's all signs of like great writing too. Like, is that this movie that she references doesn't come out till, almost 10 years later. But they're so good at managing their info and data over at the MCU that they're able to work that into something that they're going to write 10 years later. It's like super cool. And, and just in terms of her backstory, like we also get to see a lot of like her, questioning herself and her intentions and that sort of thing, which we do get deeper into like as her storyline progresses throughout all of the movies, which is cool too. And like not only hers, but I feel like this movie focuses on a lot of people's trauma, right? Like, I mean, we see Steve Rogers, like we see his, Agent Carter, who is, on her deathbed basically. Someone that he used to love and has had to live without for a long time, though he was, passed out for much of it. And then, surprise, surprise, the villain, we get to see his trauma. So the villain being Bucky, okay, Bucky freaking Barnes, my boy, all right? James Buchanan Barnes, JBB, I'm just kidding. But like, sorry, I just rewatched this movie with like my mom and my brother, and I was just like, Bucky. Like, because I don't know, like it's just so sad. But this movie talks about, what happened to him while he was, super soldier, like ever since, you know, the war, that sort of thing, because Hydra took him, right, and made him the Winter Soldier. You know, this is the reason for the name of the movie. So they basically trained him into this like Russian warrior and have been using him to, you know, commit these murders and other schemes. They're like, I mean, schemes is such a trivial word for the situation, but like these very deep, dark plans, okay, committing these plans and actions and tasks for the government, you know, and for Hydra for many, many years. And, you know, he's been like a mainstay in the world, but like a secret one. Like no one knew what was happening in the background while he was like secretly murdering people. And while, you know, like Hydra was in the background creating their own story of like what they wanted to happen, right? But anyway, so great movie, like definitely, like I said, one of my favorites, and definitely worth the watch. Like, don't skip it, okay? And like if you ain't gonna skip this one, you might as well watch all the other Captain Americas, okay? Especially the first one, so that you can understand just exactly like how deep like Bucky and, you know, Steve's connection was. And you know, like it just pulls more at the heartstrings when you get that part, right? Moving on, of course, we have the ending fight, which is between Steve and Bucky. And, you know, Steve recognizes him right away once he, you know, first sees his face, but Bucky doesn't remember him. And once he starts to, but he hasn't quite figured it out, they, you know, they re-zap him and retrain him. But there's this moment where they're fighting on one of the three, you know, freaking ships or whatever, right? That are gonna attack all of New York. And Steve's just saying like, man, like, you know me, like, you know, this. And there's some flashbacks of moments between the two of them when they were, you know, besties, and they were always there for each other. And Bucky said to Steve, he said, I'm always with you to the end of the line, right? Like, I'm with you to the end of the line. And, you know, back to the fight scene, like, Steve doesn't want to fight Bucky. Like, why would he want to fight his best friend, right? And then he says, like, I'm not going to fight you. And, you know, and Bucky keeps punching him and shit, right? And then Steve's just like, I'm with you to the end of the line, right? And they still punching each other, right? And then they, like, fall off the ship and they're in the water. And Bucky actually does pull him out. It shows that at the end there. You know, Bucky pulls him out and pulls him onto the sand and then leaves, okay? But we know that that's not the end of the story. Like, we do see at the end there that Steve Rogers is going to go looking for Bucky. And we also see a little, you know, callback from within the movie, because in the middle of the movie, while Steve's trying to get used to his new life here, he goes into the museum where his, like, memorabilia stuff is kept. And he, you know, he looks at all the old photos and information of himself. And then at the end of the movie, Bucky goes to the museum and it shows him looking at, you know, his old photos. So he's like remembering who he is. We also, of course, find out that Nick Fury isn't actually dead, which is, you know, a relief, okay? And then I think we also get introduced to Agent Hill, Maria Hill, in this one, which is like Nick Fury's right-hand person, which is great. But I almost forgot to mention, one of my favorite things about this movie is like how many hot scenes there are between Steve and Nat, okay? Like, there's just, the tension is high, and you know that's important to me in a movie, okay? So, I mean, number one, we've got like the mall scene, them kissing, blah, 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 them talking about relationships and being a virgin or whatever in the car ride, and then my personal favorite, which is also my tweeted quote from the movie, okay? So, I mean, y'all know I love the movie. I don't have to do an overall impression. Let's just head into that tweeted quote right now.
I was covering my engineer, so he shot him straight through me. Soviet slug, no rifling. Bye-bye bikinis.
Yeah, I bet you look terrible in them now.
And then for this movie's mid-credits scene, pretty intense, guys. It shows some Hydra person who not only has the Tesseract with him, but he also has Pietro and Wanda, okay? Who we come to know as whatever Pietro's name is. He's just fast, okay? He's just like fast. and then Wanda, who is the Scarlet Witch. Okay. So yeah, sets us up for some pretty interesting things in this movie here, and they're basically just like teenagers who have special powers right now at the moment, and they're obviously going to be harnessed for for evil things right now. So yeah. Okay, guys. Well, I think we'll leave it there. That was the MCU review by Arbdog, part 3. If you enjoyed the video at all, if you enjoyed if you enjoyed anything, if you enjoyed my hair, if you enjoyed my shirt, like the Luigi, like anything, like the video, comment, whatever. If you didn't like it, get the hell out, okay? Get out. And don't come back. I'm just kidding. You can come back. Maybe you'll enjoy it the next time. I don't know, man. And then make sure you subscribe, because like if you liked it, like, and even if you didn't like it, apparently, like, subscribe, because you might like it next time, like I said. And I hope to see you next time. I feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. I don't know. Also, guys, I never like say this, but like follow my other social media, man. Follow my Twitch. Follow my Instagram. You go ahead and follow my TikTok. I don't usually like to advertise it very much, but follow my TikTok. What else? Follow my Twitter. I'll tell you. Okay, I actually have a link tree. I'll put my link tree down below. But like my Instagram, like that's where I post most things. Okay, my Twitch, like sometimes sometimes I go on there. I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, like sometimes in a blue moon I will like either game or like do karaoke or something, or just like do just chattings. And as you could probably tell, I'm like pretty interesting to chat with. Whatever. Twitter is like, that's where I like tweet things like these movie quotes, man. Like you can hold me to it, whatever. Okay. No, but like, I just say like random things on Twitter sometimes. And TikTok is also random. Catch me doing a trend like maybe once a year too late specifically, and then mostly just doing random things when I finally have the time to make a TikTok. Okay, I'm sure there's other social media that exists, but I can't remember it right now. So do those for now, and yeah, because like, where's the sport, bro? But like, I got 1,400 subscribers here. How come I only got 900 Instagram followers? How come? Okay. Anyway, see you guys next time. See, I wouldn't want to be. Bye.